Hello everyone, today we are going to talk about a very hot topic if you are playing the tower, and this topic is about the ultimate weapon. I'm going to talk in a lot of details of the ultimate weapon. You have some timestamp into the video, so if you think that I'm going too much into details of one subject in particular, you can skip to the other one, as you can see below into the description bar. I would start with what I consider to be my ultimate weapon ranking, so you will have this at the very beginning of the video. Then I will go into much details one by one why I believe this ultimate weapon is good or not. Then I will talk about the need that will change for your tower through your progression towards the tournament tier, but also towards your farming tier, and the different aspects of the ultimate weapon that you will need. I will give you at the end some tips to farm. This is also a link to my video that I explain how to farm properly on the tower mobile, and I will give you also some tips to rank up in tournament, especially if you are in the legend tournament, which is my case. So when you are choosing an ultimate weapon, when you are unlocking the ultimate weapon, you will have a choice among 3 ultimate weapons, and this choice is permanent. There is no option right now into the game to reset the stones that you are going to spend, whether to choose an ultimate weapon or to upgrade an ultimate weapon. So all the choices that you make are permanent, so please choose wisely, otherwise you may regret them later on. So the first one that I do recommend taking for the beginner player is the Golden Tower. Golden Tower is a massive boost into the economy. I'm going to talk about it later, but that's the number 1. The number 2 is the Death Wave, which is helping the survivability, which is very important early on into the game, but it's also helping the economy. So for those reasons, I think it's very important to get it very quickly. Then the third one is probably the Black Hole, because it synergizes very well with the Golden Tower, and you unlock the big combo for the economic that is going to carry the economy that you have on the tower until the very late game. Then I would recommend that you unlock the Chain Lightning, then the Spotlight, then the Chrono Field, then Smart Missile, the Mine, and then finally the Swamp. If you want to have more details why I make this choice, you can go to the next section where I'm going to talk about greater details of all the ultimate weapon and why I believe it's good at this time and not at the time before. I'm pausing here the video for a second. If you do get value from this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. I'm aiming for 1000 subs, I still don't have them, and giving me this sub will help me tremendously. Thanks for watching, and I carry on with the video. If when you own at least 3 ultimate weapons you still don't own the Golden Tower, I do recommend that you restart a fresh game with a new email address, because the amount of time that you are going to waste not having the this ultimate weapon is going to be greatly outbalanced by the fact that starting fresh and getting it early, the help it provides to early account is massive. So I do recommend that if you at least own 3 ultimate weapons and still don't get the Golden Tower, you start something fresh. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit more into the details of why I make the choice and the need that your tower will have as you are progressing through the tier. So a common knowledge into the tower is that from tier 1 to tier 12, the EHP, meaning the defense and the health, is going to scale much better than the damage. So you are going to fall short first in damage before defense from the tier 1 to tier 12, and then from tier 13 and above, then you are going to fall short in health and defense first versus damage. So at the beginning of the game, it's very important that as long as you stay within the first 12 tier, you are scaling EHP, so health, defense, those kind of things, more than you are scaling damage, because this is what is going to help you moving on into the tier and farming longer. As you are progressing later on, you will need to switch to what we call glass cannon, which is basically, you know that any hit on your tower is going to one-shot you, but you are going to deal a lot of damage, and this is how you manage to get further into the tier that are above the 12, and especially into the tournament, the Legend tournament, which is the highest tier of the tournament today available as we are recording this video. Okay, so now let's start with the Golden Tower. The Golden Tower is going during a certain time frame to multiply all the coins that you receive from killed enemy and all the cash that you receive by a massive factor. Usually we are talking about something that is above 20, and when you're doing a farm run with the perk that are unlocked, it's very easy to go above 30 because the perk is multiplying by 1.5 this bonus. The Golden Tower is extremely important because early on the driving factor for your tower is the amount of coin that you are going to generate that you will be able to invest into the workshop, and that will allow you to go further into the wave for farming, but also further into the wave for the tournament. So the limiting factor at the beginning is really the coins, and having more coins early on is going to accelerate your tower drastically. So that's why Golden Tower is very useful. Also at the beginning of the tournament, what you are going to see is that having the Golden Tower will increase the amount of cash that you generate through the tournament, which will allow you to purchase more in-run upgrade into the workshop and potentially achieve max level on certain stats that you will not have done otherwise. As your tower is progressing and getting more and more advanced, Golden Tower, it's having a diminishing return in tournament because you will get maxed anyway in the tournament that you do, but it will still be key for any farm that you are doing between the tournament and to generate coins. So that's why starting the coin generation early on is probably the best move, and that's why I recommend to have the Golden Tower as the first pick for beginner player. Moving next to Death Wave. Death Wave is a very important ultimate weapon because it will provide two aspects that are very key early on. The first one, it will multiply your HP by a certain percentage based on the enemy that you kill with Death Wave or the enemy that you tag with the pre-wave of the Death Wave. At the beginning it starts by multiplying your health by 6, which is enormous early on, and if you are doing the appropriate researches it can go to 12.5. The second aspect of Death Wave that is very interesting is that all the enemy that are killed with Death Wave or tagged with the pre-wave are going to be affected by certain bonuses of the Death Wave. The first bonuses is going to be coin multiplicator, so you are multiplying the coin that you generate by more than 2 when you are doing the proper researches. And the second benefit of those tag is also the cells that you are going to generate from killing elites. Those cells are allowing you to boost the research lab by time 1.5, time 2, time 3, time 4, etc. And having more cells that are generated will mean that you are going to research things quicker and you are going to progress through the research lab that is massive much quicker. So Death Wave have really two benefits. One is early on it will allow you to go further because you have more EHP, and two, it will allow you to generate more coins and more cells, which will accelerate your progression early on into the game. I think those two things are very important early on, and that's why I recommend to have it as quickly as possible after the Golden Tower, so rank 2 for the Death Wave. Now, if we are talking about Death Wave into later on into the game, as you are progressing, you will still use Death Wave for a while in farming, but when you are going into the very last tier of the tournament in Legend, you will not need Death Wave at all, because the EHP that you generate through this ultimate weapon are not worth anything. You're still going to be one shot, and the damage that this ultimate weapon is doing is not competitive versus the rest of the ultimate weapon that are doing damage, and I'm going to talk about it later. So it's really something that is very good early on, up to the tier of the tournament that is just below Legend, the Champion tournament. But when you start getting into Legend, it will not be useful for the tournament. Moving on to the next ultimate weapon, which is the Black Hole. And the Black Hole is a very interesting ultimate weapon, because when you just unlock it, it does pretty much nothing. And it's only when you start improving it that you will see the benefit of the Black Hole. The black hole is something that is mostly used for the economy. It does a little bit of control, but it does not provide you a lot of control in tournament, because usually you are increasing the range of your tower in tournament, and as the size of the black hole is not scaling with the range of your tower, you end up with a very small black hole compared to the overall tower. So it will not help you tremendously into the tournament. At least it does not help me tremendously. But the main interest of the black hole is really to farm. When you are doing the appropriate researches, you will multiply all the coin by up to 11 that for the monster that are dying inside the black holes, and you will be able to research a second black hole, meaning that, as you see on my tower, every time that it's popping, you will have two massive black holes that are appearing, and every mobs that dies inside have the coin multiplied by 11. And this bonus is also multiplicative with the golden tower. So if you synchronize the golden tower and the black hole, which should be the case at some point, and we'll explain you how at the very end of the video, you will have the time 20 that I explained before multiplied by 11. That's already something which is 220 times the number of coins of everything that is dying within the black hole. And this is how you start generating massive amount of coins. It's by having this ultimate combo, which is golden tower and the black hole. So unlocking it very early will help you unlock this combo quite early, and will boost tremendously the amount of coins per minute that you are generating. Moving on to the next ultimate weapon, which is the Chain Lightning. Chain Lightning is going to be the main source of damage for a lot of people through a lot of time during tournament. It will not be useful very early on into the tournament, because, as I said, the EHP is really what is the problem and not the damage. But starting to have the Chain Lightning is going to help you tremendously. It is going to bounce to several enemies and is going to deal a lot of damage through all the monsters. The only downside of Chain Lightning is that on big monsters such as the bosses, it does not as much damage as other ultimate weapon, but to clear and clean the screen is very good and is going to help you a lot during the tournament. If you are farming with Chain Lightning, it will have a drawback that all the monsters that are killed without being entered into the black hole will not get the bonus of the black hole. And this is why when I'm using Chain Lightning, I have a big Chain Lightning, I'm turning it off when I'm doing some farm run, because this is really something that is reserved for the tournament as an ultimate weapon. The next one is Spotlight, and Spotlight is very, very important and very good, but the reason we are not unlocking it earlier is because the investment it requires is extremely high, and this is going to be true for the next 3 ultimate weapon that I'm going to quote. Spotlight is very good when you manage to have multiple beams, when you manage to have a lot of multiplicator, when you manage to have a lot of angle, and this costs a lot and a lot of stones. So I do not recommend that you unlock Spotlight too early, because you are going to have a tiny beam that is not going to be helpful at all. But Spotlight is going to multiply all the damage that you do within the Spotlight by a huge amount, and it's also going to improve the number of coins that you are generating if the enemy are kills within the Spotlight, which make it both a damage ultimate weapon and a farm ultimate weapon, which is very good. So Spotlight is something that I would recommend that you unlock as the number 5, if I'm not mistaken, yes, because of the huge investment that it requires. But when you have set it up properly, you will see a massive boost in your farm and in your tournament progress. So definitely a very good ultimate weapon. Moving on to Chrono Field, which is the 6th ultimate weapon that I recommend you unlock. And the reason I recommend as the number 6 is because of the high investment that you also need with Chrono Field. Chrono Field is something that is going to slow down all the monsters that are approaching your tower, and you will both need a lot of research to make it work, and you will also need a lot of stones to make it really viable. You will need to have a perma Chrono Field for it to be like 100% uptime for it to be very useful, and that requires a lot of stones, and you will need to reduce the speed of all the monsters within the Chrono Field by a lot for it to be meaningful as well. So this is an amazing, and I insist on this, it's an amazing ultimate weapon when you can invest into it. It will not help you tremendously with the farm, because it only provides with a certain percentage of damage reduction, but it's not going to help you tremendously with the farm. But in tournament, it will really control a lot of the monsters and will prevent some early death a lot. And I realized that every time that there is the affix on the tournament, which reduce the number of seconds that my Chrono Field is up, and when I drop below a perfect uptime, I die almost instantly. So really, Chrono Field is a strong ultimate weapon for tournament, and is going to help you push those extra waves that otherwise you will not be able to push. The next ultimate weapon is Smart Missile. And the reason I do not recommend you to unlock Smart Missile early is because it's based on the cooldown and on the number of missiles that are unlocked through stones and on the damage. So you have a lot of stones that you need to involve before you get an ultimate weapon that is providing sustainable damage. The best interest of Smart Missile is that every time that a second or third or fourth missile is hitting the same target, the damage are going to be multiplied by a certain factor that is based on your research. And this is helping a lot on bosses, because all the missiles are going to target this boss, and his health is going to be shrink a lot, which combined very well with Chain Lightning that is not doing a lot of damage to big target like bosses. Moving on to the number 8, which is the landmine, and the landmine is providing you some control, because when you unlock the research appropriate, you will stun the enemy that is affected by the landmine, which will give you a few seconds more to be able to kill this enemy before he hits your tower. The damage are okay. I know that now there is some research that are bumping the damage, but I believe that the damage are not that great compared to the other ultimate weapon. So the main interest of the landmine is the control that it provides through the stuns on the enemy that are entering the range of your tower. I do recommend to unlock it on number 8, because right now I think that this ultimate weapon is not as strong as the other one that I previously listed. And finally, the number 9, the swamp. The poison swamp has been reworked recently from appearing underneath the mobs that were dead to something that spawned in the middle of your tower and reduce the speed of the monster by 25%, I believe, and has a chance to stun them if you have the appropriate module. No, it can stun, but if you have the appropriate module, it can probably allow the monster to miss you. But overall, I think this ultimate weapon is really the worst right now. Feels a little bit clunky that the range of the swamp is not that great. It doesn't scale with the range of your tower, meaning that most of the time it's going to appear at a very small portion of your tower range, and it's not going to affect a lot of the monsters that are going to enter the range of your tower. So overall, I don't think this is a great ultimate weapon to unlock. The only benefit is that when you unlock the 9 ultimate weapon, you will benefit from the ultimate weapon plus, so the amelioration that you can get when you have unlocked all the 9 ultimate weapon, and that's why at the end it's worth unlocking it as well. But as a standalone ultimate weapon is probably the worst right now as it is. Okay, so now that we have reviewed in details all the ultimate weapon, I rank them and I explain you why I think that one is better than the other depending on the time that you are within the game. I'm going to give you some tips to farm and some tips for tournament. Starting with tips to farm, this is going to be around the synchronization of the 3 main coin multiplicator, which are the golden tower, the black hole, and the death wave. These 3 ultimate weapon, they need to have the same cooldown, so they line up exactly when they are activating, multiplying one to another. There's two options for you to achieve that. The first one is through the Epic module that is the multiverse nexus, and this module is by default synchronizing those three, taking the average cooldown as the number, the base cooldown, and depending on the rarity of your module is going to even increase this cooldown or reduce this cooldown. This is what I'm using to farm, and that will allow you to not really take care of the different cooldown of the ultimate weapon. You just reduce it as much as you want. You use this module and you have everything synchronized. It's done very easy. The second option is if you have not started to invest into Epic modules, which cost a lot of gems, so at the beginning you may not have that, you will not touch the cooldown of the black hole. You will keep as it is and you will not touch the cooldown of black hole, and instead what you are going to do is just reduce the cooldown of the golden tower. You are going to reduce the cooldown of the golden tower until you reach the cooldown of black hole, and then every time that you want to reduce a cooldown, you will reduce both at the same time. You will not touch one without touching both. The reason why you don't want to touch the cooldown of black hole is because as the stones to reduce the cooldown are going to increase as you are progressing, each click that you will need to do on golden tower cooldown reduction is going to be increasingly harder to do. So you want to be at the basic level for black hole, so you synchronize as fast as possible the two together. You can also try to synchronize the death wave, but my recommendation is that if you're not using the multiverse nexus, which is the module I just talked about before, you don't touch the cooldown of death waves to be synchronized with the rest, because it costs way too much stones to be able to synchronize everything together. So just focus on black hole and golden tower. This is the essential of the economic combo, and wait until you start pulling into the modules to get this multiverse nexus and to run it to be able to have everything synchronized together. For the tournament, if you're still in the video, can you comment legend into the commentary below? And if you do, I will probably do another video which is around the legend tournament and how you progress within the legend tournament. So on the tournament, my recommendation is that you are boosting as high as possible chain lightning, and you are using the dimension core, which have two benefits. The first one is that the main target that you hit will now be affected by chain lightning, and also that the shock is going to be multiplied by 2 and will add up to a maximum of stack of 15. So this is very important in tournament to be used. It's the best module that you want, and in parallel of this you want to pump up your chain lightning as high as possible. The chain lightning is really an amazing ultimate weapon in a tournament for glass cannon, because it clears everything very quickly and it provides a lot of damage. So you really want to increase chain lightning. I think it's better to have an OP chain lightning and a mediocre smart missile than the opposite, because chain lightning is proccing all the time through your attack speed, while smart missile, it relies on the cooldown, meaning that when you don't have this cooldown up, you deal pretty much no damage, because your shot is going to deal significant less damage when you are reaching a high tier. It will probably do nothing to bosses and monster in general. So my recommendation for tournament is pump up the damage of chain lightning, unlock Chrono Field as a perma cooldown. So probably using the module, you can use the 7-second Chrono Field duration or 7-second Chrono Field cooldown. This is something that is very nice as well. And at the end, if you are getting killed by the bosses, I do recommend that you unlock the smart missile and you start pumping damage on it. But really, this is not the priority. Like chain lightning and Chrono Field, when you have both that are very good, this is going to be already dealing with a lot of problem that you are going to face. Finally, you need to invest into a spotlight. Spotlight is the big damage dealer as well. That is multiplying the chain lightning and everything, and having good angle and reaching at least 3 beam, 4 being really good. That is going to help you a lot. I hope that this video has been helpful for you. If it was, please consider subscribing to my channel. As you see, it's a very young channel. Every sub counts for me, as I'm aiming for 1000 subs and I still not have them. Thanks for watching. See you on the next video.